Oh, why, hello. How are you today? How are you feeling? Most importantly, how are you feeling? How are you feeling? Are you doing well today? Are you having a perfect day? Or is it just, If it's just, it's time to check in. All right, checking in with you. Before we get started, thank you for watching my videos. Thank you for watching this one. Brings me great delight to know that, I'm having an effect on many people and many of you out there that are now subscribers. Also, if you haven't already, hit the subscribe button. I'd like to invite you to do that, and then hit the little bell notification on the same spot. That will let you know about all my great content, and it'll be sent over to you. No further ado, today, amongst many of my musings, I want to talk about contingency. You go, Jesse, that is such a complicated and complex and mundane topic to talk about. Is it? I'll give you a bit of a breakfast to gnaw on while you're thinking about the previous statement. This is what I'm going to preload for you. In a blended family, 2 kids, wife, I am juggling 4 schedules. Mine, my spouse's, my wife's, my stepdaughters, and my daughters. And you go, well, isn't that all one schedule? No, it's not. My wife has her life, I have mine, and my 2 daughters each have their own schedules that need to be interwoven within ours. We need to coordinate them. And you go, how the heck do you manage that? It's not how the heck do you manage that. It's you just do it. You figure it out. But within that, there's got to be contingency. And that is today's topic, contingency. Why is that important to me? Why is that important to you? Building in contingency helps create balance. Building in contingency helps lower your stress, helps mitigate it, as we used to say in safety, we still do. But not only that, it makes life a little bit more simple. It simplifies things. It makes it helps maintain the pizzazz. Well, what do you mean by that? Give us an example. Well, last summer, I had a pretty steep learning curve into how to coordinate all of these schedules. And I'm gonna tell you, I'm getting perfect at it, and I'm working on being perfecter. Grammar check. Okay, those are my words, so they checked out all right. Last summer, I learned pretty quickly that if I dawdled and didn't have an idea of how I was going to, didn't have a really good outlook on what my summer was going to be like. And what ended up happening was, ended up having to re-coordinate, had to worry about a lot of emotions. And not only that, because of the way that I was learning and didn't know how to do things and wasn't making decisions quickly and wasn't taking the lead to make those decisions, I ended up having an effect on, let's just say, more than 8 or 9 people. And you go, okay, well, that's no different than working in a work environment and being a manager. You're right. And that is a responsible thing that you must keep in mind, is if you're a manager and a boss and you have an effect on 8 or 9 or 10 people, be the leader. Make the decisions. And if you have stress and you're not quite sure how to deal with some things because it's your first time doing it, figure it out. So that's what I needed to do last summer. Figure it out. What I didn't do and should have done better, I just slid there, did you see that? Was trust my humble wife that she had a better, let's just say she had a more maneuverable way of looking at how to finally craft and make things fair for everybody. She's a real whiz at it. What I learned in all that was how to balance all the emotions of not only myself, but how to help by making decisions. And when I made those decisions, I was able to offer clarity. I was able to look like I was able to cast the energy out there that I had it down. I knew what I was doing. And once I started to get comfortable, being uncomfortable, making those decisions, I was able to go through them. And making the decisions to go through them, you'll go, whoa, this is so vague, Jesse, so far. I did not know how to etch out days for my child to be able to balance them with my stepchild, and then days of activities that my ex-wife wanted for my child. They were conflicting with days that we wanted to be with a family together and do activities together. So there's a fine balance. And not only that, my stepdaughter's father, he's got a schedule where he wanted to take vacation days too. So we're all just learning how to do this together. And my friends, there's no wrong way to do this. I would say the only wrong way to do it is to not do it, not make decisions. But we needed to make all those decisions to figure it out. And you'll say, well, Jesse, that's such a cliche thing to say. You're right, it is. But here's the big thing. In doing all of that, I learned how to build in contingency. And building in contingency is building in time for yourself. It's building in time for your relationship. It is building in time to be with your daughter, time to be with your daughters. Okay? It's time with yourself. And that comes first, by the way. That has to come first. That's not selfish. Someone once asked me, or someone once told me, hey Jesse, you're kind of full of yourself. You're right. I'm full of myself. Who else would I be full of? But here's the thing. In saying that, I know how important it is to put yourself in that first, foremost. Get out of bed and do your exercises. Start your routine. Because if you don't do that, what happens? I keep talking about it. Every one of my videos, there's a common theme. You don't give yourself that love that you need to do that. And by building in contingency, you might say, well, that's just another way of you saying that you need to balance. You need to carve yourself an hour every day. You need to, yeah, it is. But contingency is a little slightly different too, because I'm talking about building in time between activities, between days, between transition points. If you're flying back and forth between airports, you got to give yourself a couple of hours of a buffer. Why? You see that white stuff on the ground behind me? That's why. It comes out of the sky and it's unpredictable. Well, some people would say it's predictable because, yeah, we do have models and we do have HAARP. Yes, we do. Anyway, another subject for another time. But what I'm saying, if you're building in buffer between things, flights, activities, drive time, building in buffer between you and the kids versus you and time with the wife versus time with you and self, you're already winning. And you need to do that. Building in contingency helps lower your stress. If your schedule is such a way that you're driving from point A to point B and you're giving yourself 2 to 3 minutes, come on, man, get with it. You got to build in more time for yourself than that, and for your family. Way more. You'll say, well, there isn't enough hours in the day. Stop making excuses. Because that's what I did last year. I made excuses. Stop doing that. I'm going to call you out on that. Well, Jesse, there's only 24 hours in a day, and I've got this and I've got this. Figure it out. If you're handling other clients and you are delivering to other clients, and you have 1 client, 2 client, 3 client, and they all have various needs and wants, and you do it with your family, and plus you're handling 4 schedules, or 2, or just your own, Go through the tidal wave. Hit it straight on. Don't be afraid to try. Don't be afraid to do it wrong. Because guess what? Doing it wrong does? Do you know what doing it wrong does? You learn what not to do. You learn that that is not the thing to do and then I should do this instead. It gives you a place to start. You hear me? It gives you a place to start. If you don't know whether to do this versus this, and you choose this and you go, well, that was the wrong thing to do, that's a win. That is a win. You just figured out that that wasn't the place to start. Or how about this? Everybody wants to win on the B thing that they chose. The thing that they could have chose and they didn't choose the first thing. And I'm telling you this, either way, either choice that you make is a win. One just gets to you quicker. The other one you get to consolidate because you figured out that is not the right thing to do. Or maybe it is the right thing to do, but it's another time. You get to spin it however you want it. And it's brilliant. All right, contingency. Now, I've hit a couple things on that today. There's going to be more videos on this because I'm going to be able to explain this to you in another way. But for today, I want you thinking about putting time between activities, putting time between your drives, putting time between your flights, putting time between the transition points, the touch points, the time that you spend with your daughters and your sons, the time that you spend going for a walk. This video, I've built in a buffer, 5 minutes between each. Well, you're gonna say, well, what does that mean? You're right, what does that mean? It means that I have put 5 minutes in between this video, getting back and doing something else, so that I get to reflect on what I've just written, what I've just given to you, not written, what I've just recorded for you. And that, my friends, is where I'm going to leave it. Take care, have fun, go do things that are wrong so you can find out what there is to do them right. Work in those contingencies. Take care.